All right, well, it's time for your fortnightly news.
I know. So what do we got? We got a week left. A week left of the season, which is very exciting. And there was an update today, and no one knew what the update was going to be. And it was a surprising update because it wasn't one about the actual game itself. There was nothing added to playing in the game, but they reworked how the shop works to make it less difficult or more difficult.
Spend money.
Basically, they made it more difficult to accidentally spend money. It used to be really easy to make an accidental purchase, and they had like a ticket refund system, which they still have. So if you bought something and within 30 days you decide you hate it, you can get your V-Bucks back. But you only get to do that 3 times a year. So, it's not a perfect system, but they actually changed it. So they made it just a little bit more difficult.
How many times a year do you do that?
I've accidentally made, I think I have used 2 tickets, not this year, but like,
okay.
overall.
I was gonna say you're down to your last one.
No, I have 2 tickets right now, but in the last 2 years, I had to use like a ticket at least once a year. I've used the ticket. So yeah, that's happened to me twice. And I did buy like early on, I bought a skin by accident using V-Bucks that I didn't mean to buy. And it was before they had the ticket system. So I was stuck with it. Still am.
I hope you're using it.
It's actually it's a decent skin. I don't hate it. So which is why I'm like not crazy upset about it. But I understand how frustrating that could be. And actually someone
So this is probably due to a lawsuit or something, right?
I don't know. I mean,
it sounds like something that
Oh yeah, they were sued
parents,
they were totally sued
parents
over this.
suing about this.
I remember reading about it.
That's what this is.
Yeah,
totally.
This is not like, oh yeah, we really want to do a good thing here, make it harder for people to buy stuff. Like that's not this.
And now it's like you really have to like make a decision, like to consciously hit
it should be like any like marketplace should be is like, are you sure you want to buy this? This is real money. Yes.
I noticed the Xbox, just the general store on the Xbox, like it's pretty easy to accidentally buy something. You're a few like, I got the controller with the back button on it and I have it set to the A button. And I put that controller down on the couch in the wrong position and it's going to hit A few times perhaps. And I got pretty close to the buy screen there. Anyway, what do we got in the real news?
I'm glad they made this update, whatever the reasons may be. Yes, I agree. It's something they should have done a long time ago, and it's something they should have done on their own. But whatever the reasons may be, it's there now, and whatever. So, and we'll talk more. Not this time next week, but the show after.
How's the Apple Fortnite stuff going? I feel like that we haven't had a good update on that.
They don't need it anymore. They don't need Apple anymore because they have the xCloud.
Perfect. So Apple won.
I guess. I think everybody won. I don't know.
I didn't
Fantastic. I love it when everybody wins in lawsuits.
I don't feel like I won. Anyway, the big story this week is all about Call of Duty and sour grapes, I guess. You put this on the outline, Juan.
I did.
You got pretty excited about this, I guess.
I mean, because we've talked about it so much.
Yes.
The idea of, Microsoft buying Call of Duty, buying Activision, and whether or not Activision games would now become exclusive games on Xbox consoles, moving forward. I don't think they would pull games off the stores that are already there, but with new games coming out, be exclusive to the Xbox.
Right.
And one of the things that we had always said for a long time is that that we thought Call of Duty would eventually become an Xbox exclusive. That they have current agreements that they wouldn't be able to break because they're legal contracts for however long they are. And then after that, I think we basically were like,
anything's up for grabs.
Anything's possible after that. Apparently,
nobody else thought that, though. By the way, if you noticed, like when we were talking about those things, everybody else was like, not everybody, but a lot of people, most people were like, "Look, it's Call of Duty. It's got to be on PlayStation. They're going to keep it on PlayStation forever. Nobody's got anything to worry about. People are just, people are assuming too much."
Well, the quote I heard from everybody was, "What are they gonna? They're not gonna just leave money on the table."
Right.
I'm like, they're good. They're gonna be fine. I actually read it. I think it's like 14% of the. It's most of the post game revenue comes from the Sony consoles. About 14% of the like post buying the game revenue, whatever word we want to use, comes from Sony.
For the Call of Duty stuff, you mean?
Yeah, the Call of Duty stuff. Like people buy it.
Only 14%?
Well, it's 14%. It was in the Discord channel. But yeah, it was like 14, maybe 16. I'm trying to remember. But it wasn't crazy. I mean, Microsoft was 4th on the list. So I guess it's all relative.
Where are the other? Who's in the first and second and third?
First is Sony.
Right. Who's second and third?
PC and maybe mobile.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you just take the PlayStation out of that equation.
Right.
But you're not, though.
You're still
but that's
all right.
just it.
Right. You're fine.
But the thing is, though, are you taking them out of the equation, or...
It sounds like in 3 years they're planning to.
Right.
Well, yeah, let's get back to the story here, because we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right.
So the offer that Microsoft made to Sony, according to these quotes from Jim Ryan, who is the PlayStation CEO, so he would know, is that the deal offered by Microsoft was after the current deals, they would still release the game for 3 more years, and I guess that's it.
Right. Yeah.
So,
which seems like a reasonable thing to do. Like I would bet on that if that was an option.
And Darkness found it. It's 17%. I said 14. I said 14 or 16.
Okay. I was expecting much more than that, to be honest.
And I wasn't off by that much. I said,
no, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
I was expecting like something in the 30s or, maybe even 40%. Because like Sony was like, they had that whole agreement with Call of Duty where they were the home of Call of Duty, right, Chip?
The home of Call of Duty.
The new home of Call of Duty.
Well,
they weren't the home of Call of Duty before they paid all the money.
Right.
So let's say
them the home of Call of Duty.
Right.
This just sounds like Sony being upset that they were only able to like rent the home.
Right.
And
someone came and bought it.
We're gonna come buy that home now.
Right.
And of that 17%, so let's say this deal happens as is, right?
Uh-huh.
And for the next, 6 to 8 years, whatever it winds up being, once that's all over, and you're a huge Call of Duty fan, but you were primarily a PlayStation person, are you never going to play Call of Duty again, or are you going to buy an Xbox? Like, what part of that 17% switches over? And that's sort of it too. Like, I don't even think they're losing that full 17%. They may lose 10% of the 10%. They may lose 12%. I don't think it's the full 17%.
You think those people will still, some of those people will still continue to play on other platforms, so the money will just come elsewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. I think that money comes elsewhere. I don't think it's a full 17% loss.
Sure.
And I'm sure Microsoft is well aware of that too. So as far as that, leaving money on the table, I don't think they're leaving as much money on the table as people thought they were.
Sure. And there's some money on this other table for the people who buy Xboxes too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of the reason why Microsoft is like, hey, we'll do 3 years. It probably looks better in the eyes of the regulators, is my assumption. Like, this totally seems like something to use the regulator. I don't think Microsoft wants to do it.
Of course.
If
there was no regulation or anything like that, and they could just do whatever they wanted, there would be no fucking Call of Duty next year. I mean, as soon as the deal passed, there would be no Call of Duty unless.
Well, I think those other contracts are still legally binding.
Yes. Yeah, well, I'm saying if they didn't have to abide by those as soon as possible, unless they could come up with something that's, they would take in trade, like a Game Pass store on PlayStation. I don't even know if they would go for that.
I would say maybe the other way around, some Sony games on the Xbox, like your Spider-Mans and maybe like a God of War, whatever the biggest franchises are.
We'll trade you 2 Spider-Mans.
We'll trade you 2 Spider-Mans for 3 Call of Duties.
I feel like it's more likely that they will not be able to come to some sort of agreement, and
I don't think they will either. And I think that I don't even I guess it's a guess at this point. This is
the first time in a while that like the PlayStation and Xbox teams haven't been friendly out in the public. Like the way that that Jim Ryan like brought this out, like his opening statement there. If I hadn't intended to comment on this,
sure,
what I understood to be private business, but Phil brought this out, like that's pretty catty,
right? Also,
right.
like I've had this prepared statement, which I'm gonna, just read off the cuff.
Jim Ryan called it inadequate on many levels. I think that if Sony turns this down, then there's going to be no deal at all. But Microsoft still gets to show the regulators, hey, this is Sony's decision not to have this game on their console anymore, not ours. We can't be held responsible. Let this deal go through. Right. That's what I think Microsoft wants to happen. I think that's why they went ahead with a deal that's essentially a shitty deal. They're like, look, this is what we'll do, and Sony's like, this deal sucks.
But like, did you read this whole quote from him? I don't know if he got to the end of it, but like the best part is the last sentence where he says, "We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality Call of Duty experience, and Microsoft's proposal undermines this principle." First of all, like we all want things, right? Like I would love to like have a Lamborghini. I wouldn't actually, but whatever. I would love to have anything.
Know what you mean.
But yeah, of course you would love to guarantee that. That's great for business to be able to guarantee to your customers that you're going to have Call of Duty. But you don't own Call of Duty. Some other company owns Call of Duty. And soon after that, some other company is probably going to own Call of Duty. And they may not want to have it on your system. So you actually can't guarantee that. But I do understand that you want to guarantee that because that's good for business. It just seems really like a weird statement, like it's in the Constitution. The right to play Call of Duty is like an amendment to the Constitution somehow, and that all gamers have this right to the best Call of Duty experience. And somehow it's only fair when Sony pays for all the exclusivity, but as soon as some other company moves in on it, then that's a problem because we can't guarantee the experience. It's a very weird statement. It makes me angry a little bit. Like it's meant to confuse people, right? Like it's intentionally misleading, that statement. Like it's operating on sentiment and not any type of business anything, right? Just feelings, not facts. Anyway, I don't care that much about Call of Duty, so it doesn't affect me personally, but apparently a lot of people are triggered about it.
I think, of course, a lot of people are triggered about it because they all thought that their game was going to stay on their console. And they found out today that that's probably not going to happen, at least not in perpetuity.
Capitalisms.
I think this is a short term, in the short term, everyone is fine. Like this isn't going to impact your Christmas this year or next year or even the year after that. I think that's
10 years we're looking at, right? Like, is that what it is? They said three more cycles of releases plus 3 years after that.
Yeah.
So how many years is that?
Six.
That's just 6 years.
6 or 8. I would say somewhere between 6 or 8 years.
Can they release some like greatest hits versions to get the
remastered?
I mean, you laugh, but I would not be surprised if something like that, like Warzone asset pack kind of thing, like it's a disc version of unlockables for Warzone, and they call that
the Call of Duty Live album.
Yeah, they call that one of the games. Yes, I understand what you're saying, and I get the jokes.
Yes,
but there's totally ways they could do the whole record band trying to get out of their record contract deal with this. Yep.
Here's Call of Duty with one more level.
Yep.
Right. A level you've never heard of.
There's going to be one that's just Neil Young playing a synthesizer for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Soap. It'll be Soap.
Yep.
He's still around, right? Is he a thing?
Yeah. Soap McTavish.
Yeah, he's big. Like people get excited when they talk about him. There's a few guys
I'm surprised Jim didn't mention him during
Ghost. I think there's a guy named Ghost. People get excited about. I don't know. I'm not that invested in it.
Yeah.
But yes, they do. They do want to guarantee the PlayStation gamers to have the highest quality Call of Duty experience. We should have bought the fucking company. I don't know what to tell you. Like. Mm-hmm. It's just like, it's very weird.
And Darkness mentions again in the chat that Sony should buy Fortnite And this is a friendly reminder that Sony can't afford Fortnite. So
well, and also that there's a Chinese company that owns 49% of Fortnite, and
I don't think it's that much of Epic, right?
Of Epic, Tension. Sorry. It's very high. It's almost a controlling interest. It's just short of a controlling interest. And, Tim's got the controlling interest.
That's the way with Ubisoft now as well.
Sony
right?
does have a stake in Epic, too. They do.
Yeah.
I think it's like 15% or 20%. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway,
we can move on from your.
I mean,
your
it's
news.
kind of crazy. It's crazy.
But look, that's business. That's how it works. You can't really complain about it. I'm sorry. Like it's a fucking first person shooter that's been around forever. There's no God-given right to have a Call of Duty game on every console. Like that's just a ridiculous thought. Think of any product and apply that principle. It doesn't make any sense.
So wait a minute, you're saying there's not a chance that Super Mario Brothers is going to come onto the Xbox?
I mean, if they buy Nintendo, it could come onto it could come onto the Xbox. But
that would be insane. Don't even make. Well, you know what it is? It's the thing, and I saw this quote, and I saw this again in the Discord. Someone saying, "Well, Xbox wants to be the Netflix of games. They want to be the Netflix of games." I hear it all the time, and I don't know who started it. But if
who wants to be?
Xbox,
okay,
Microsoft. They want to be the Netflix.
That was old, though. Wasn't that an old?
When I find the person who said that first, I'm literally going to kick them in the nuts.
I think it was Ben Gilbert.
It doesn't. Oh, fuck! I'll kick him in the nuts. That's fair. It doesn't hold any water. If anything, Microsoft wants to be what? They want to be Disney. They want to buy Star Wars and Marvel and have an unblockable corner of market and mind share that no one can beat, and they want it to be exclusive to their own platform.
Sure, but to be fair, Netflix does also spend a lot of money to acquire content. In the same way that Microsoft's obviously acquiring these studios because they make content and companies. So it's not that bad of a comparison, actually, Ben. Your nuts may be safe. Wombat, hold off on his nuts.
It's not a fair comparison.
Okay.
Netflix is hemorrhaging money. No one wants to be the next Netflix.
Well, they spend too much on the content. Microsoft has got a lot of money.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
That's the big difference. They've been around longer.
I think the Disney comparison is it's a company with a lot of money that can make big gambles on high-priced items and turn those into get profitable returns out of them.
Speaking of Microsoft, there's some two Microsoft-related news items that I just saw today that I thought were at least interesting to me, and maybe you, Wombat, also. Shipwreck, not so much. There's a new Elite 2 cheaper controller for people who can't afford the full beans on the Elite controller. If you don't want to pay for all the paddles and extra knobs, you only pay $130 instead of I think $180 or $190. Otherwise, it's the same controller.
I paid $110 for my one that came with all the doodads. So
what, you got the refurb from Best Buy?
No, it wasn't even a refurb. It was just on sale.
The Elite controller too?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's mistaken.
Shipwreck's
eyebrows went up. He tracks these things. I feel like he would know.
That seems awfully cheap for the Elite 2. Maybe it happened at some point, but that seems awfully cheap.
Yeah. I had $105 for the refurb Elite 2, and I thought that was like pretty solid deal.
It was like $115.
You can look it up later. Get back to us on Twitters.
Whatever.
Anyway,
it doesn't matter. I have one.
I feel like there's got to be a way to pick up these. Like if you only need one or two back paddles to pick that up on eBay for like nothing, right? I don't know.
They're selling the component pack for another $60.
Yeah, but that's like you don't need all that shit. You
no,
probably
only
just need like one thing.
What do you mean? All that stuff has been sitting in a container
for you.
Yeah,
you don't need anything.
Yeah, I have the Elite. I have the Elite 1, and I've never changed any of those things.
Oh, you need the backward the back paddle.
Well, I put the paddles on. Yeah,
I have one paddle on the back.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Maybe two, but the one is pretty good. And this one is white. I like white controllers. I may have to grab this one.
Is that why you don't like the Lord of the Rings show?
I like the Lord of the Rings show though. I'm looking forward to the next one. I like Black Elves. I don't see any reason why elves cannot be any different color.
GBD is a man of simple things. He likes black elves and white controllers.
I like any type of elves.
Can that be the title of the show, by the way? Black elves and white controllers?
Maybe, if I remember. But I already had a title, but I forgot it because I didn't write it down.
Okay, I'm going to put it on the top then.
All right. Let's see. Oh, and also the other Netflix, the other Microsoft news, aka the Netflix of gaming, is that they've added noise suppression to Xbox party chats now. So if you have a friend who's got a shitty headset, like I do, like Curry Manju, you can finally filter out all the air conditioner noise and police sirens going off and gunfire in the background. So that's a pretty good feature add. I'm excited for that. Because I feel like as someone who bought an Xbox headset, I shouldn't be I'm like giving people good audio, but I'm getting back garbage. So finally, this evens things out for us people with decent headphones. Thank you, Microsoft.